Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at Oath Standard Blue Prism from Oath Playing Cards and designer Lotrek. It was all the way back in 2017 when Lotrek introduced us to Golden Oath, a true marvel in modern playing cards. It represented the first time a designer had tried to do a deck entirely in foil, utilizing 3 different colors to produce an ornate design that took luxury to the next level. The deck, of course, represented just the next step for a creator who had already made a name for himself, pushing the envelope through decks like Icons and Liturgy. Now, Golden Oath initially went on sale for the shocking retail price of nearly $100, but of course it still sold out quickly. And supporters were not disappointed, treated to a true visual feast that did something that even to this day, few decks have achieved. Over the years, that basic design would go on to become a staple of Lotrek's work, making returns in several iterations, from the ornate foiled gold on black and gold on gold versions to the burgundy and navy players editions that were released last year. So what about Blue Prism? Well, this striking deck is the latest in that legacy of style dating back 7 years now. So let's see what Lotrek brings to the latest incarnation. And like all good decks, it starts with a beautiful tuck box. All right, so this one's done on a black cardstock, but has some beautiful, super deep embossing to go with that blue prismatic foil. The embossing here you can see in the form of the lines on the side here, and it's just incredibly deep, almost has a quilted effect to it. It's a really cool kind of classic looking effect to it, and then pairs beautifully with that bright blue foil against that black stock. Really cool prismatic effect, so as you tilt in the light, you get a little bit of that rainbow shimmer to it overall. And then I just love the combination of blue and black. I think it just looks fantastic. Of course, you get the standard with the Oath logo here in the center, something you'll see repeated on so many of those Oath standard decks. And then the top and the bottom just features that border, again, done in that blue foil. That border wraps around to the sides where you can see Oath playing cards on one side and then Blue Prism edition on the other. The bottom here mentions these are manufactured in Greece. So of course, Lotrek manufactures all of his own cards. And then you can see it's hand numbered in gold out of the 550 deck edition. Top here just has 2024. So I believe on the original deck, these 2 little circles here on the Golden Oath deck, that's actually how they were numbered, was just inside of those 2 circles. But for this one, just includes the date with a bunch of blue filigree around the edge. And then the back gives you a preview of the back designs along with a border that features more of that super deep embossing. So you open up the inner flap, more embossing on the larger inner flap, and then these small little fancy emblems on the sides. And then nothing printed on the interior of the box, just a little bit more of a view of the reverse of that embossing going all the way through. But really beautiful tuck box. I love the black stock used for this one, and then that blue just really pops against it. But now we get into the cards. If you look at the sides here, you'll see it looks black, almost like it's a painted or an ink stock here on the side, but this is actually the stock of the card. So it's fully black, including the core of it. So the paper through and through, which I think just a fantastic touch. I wish more creators would do this. And this means that even with the black faces of the card, you don't get that chipping that you often get. So most cards, they have a white core in the center, which is black ink applied to the cards, which means just as you use the cards, it kind of chips away here, revealing the white underneath. But you don't get that problem with the black stock cards that Oath uses. So really do like that. And you get the beautiful back design on these. Of course, it's done in that blue prismatic foil. So again, you get a little bit of that rainbow shimmer on the cards with that bright electric blue color against the black stock. Looks absolutely beautiful. And this back design to me is just a classic. Features the Oath logo here in the center. So if you look at that sword and then the twisting lines around here, you can actually make out the letters of Oath. So you have the O here, the A in the center, the sword forms the T, and then an H here in the middle. But really cool look to it overall. Tons of little details. And if you compare this one to the original Golden Oath, you can see he's added little embellishments. So for example, this ring here with the fine lines, this used to be just empty space, but he's filled in that and given it just extra little touches. So the same basic design that you'll see on, going all the way back to that original deck, but given just that much more detailing all the way through. And again, that match of the blue and the black to me, it gives it kind of a little bit more modern feel to it, which is ironic given how classic and vintage feeling the design is. But I really, really like the color combination. And then love that you have the black border around the edges on this one. All right, now flipping to the faces of the cards, and more foil making its appearance on the Ace of Spades. So the emblem here in the center, made up of the large spade pip, and of course you can perhaps make out the letters of Oath there as sort of another version of the logo made up there. But then all of it forming with a little bit of extra filigree to form that spade pip in the center, and then the radiating lines around from it, all done in that blue prismatic foil. Just a beautiful Ace of Spades, really classic. Love the look of this one. And then the top here just mentions, of course, this is the Blue Prism deck from Oath playing cards. And then the corner, the pip and the index, very kind of standard. So this one isn't done in foil. It's just done in a kind of a teal color, outlined in gold to give you a little extra depth to it. But unfortunately, I wish it had done more of the foiling. And speaking of switching to ink, you'll notice as we get to the number cards, these also aren't done in foil. So you don't get that shine on these. Instead, using a gold metallic ink paired with that teal color. Still a nice look to it overall, but when you're comparing it to the shine of the back design or that Ace of Spades, I wish the foil had continued through more of the cards. But these pretty standard as Oath cards go. He loves to use these two-tone pips, which kind of gives it a little bit of a shadow effect. So you get the gold on one side and the teal on the other. This is something he repeats in a lot of his decks. Red cards instead go for that classic crimson color to go with the gold, for that same two-tone effect on these. There's your diamond cards, and then into the clubs, and finally the hearts. So nothing too special on these. Again, really wish it had made use of foil on these just to kind of match what the ornate bit of the rest of the deck is. And same, I think, goes for the court cards. So the court cards are kind of Oath standard court cards. He's redrawn the court cards, but they're clearly very much based on the classic bicycle cards. You can see some differences. The face, for example, has that flat, shadowy structure that Lotrek uses on a lot of his cards, but definitely familiar touches going back to the classic court cards of bicycle decks that you may be familiar with. So give it a little bit of extra ornate touches, but yet again, I really would have appreciated if that blue had been hits of that blue prismatic foil again. I think it really causes these to feel a little bit flatter than they should have otherwise. But still, as standard redrawn courts go, I think these are really, really nicely done. Lots of creators do their own version of standard courts, and these, nothing too much to complain about as standard courts go. I'm usually a fan of the more custom courts, but don't mind these at all. And there's your King of Hearts. And then finally, you get the two jokers of the deck. Again, not done in foil, but instead making use of some metallic inks. So two almost identical, each of them featuring a knight kneeling with the flag in one hand and the shield in the other. Of course, the shield here for the red knight with the four suits on it. And then if you flip over to the blue knight, same thing, but this one adds in a few little Ace of Spades reveals. So he's got Ace of Spades kind of fluttering out from behind him, and even one slipping out from underneath his armor there. So there's your two almost identical jokers. And that is it. That is the Oath Standard Blue Prism Edition. For me, I think it's a really interesting deck. Lots of beautiful color on this one, and really makes nice use of that technique that Lotrek's been using for years to enable him to get bright, vibrant colors against a black cardstock. So really nice use of the printing on this one. If you've seen the other standard decks, this probably isn't my favorite of them, although it definitely has the most unique vibe to it just because that blue is so bright and vibrant. But for me, I'd probably go for one of the like gold on black or gold on gold decks, or if you can get a hold of one, the original Golden Oath, also a beautiful deck to get to. But if you don't have any of the standard decks, really recommend checking this one out. It's a beautiful deck, one definitely worth picking up to add to your collection. So hope you enjoyed this one, this look at the Oath Standard Blue Prism Edition. And make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews, more unboxings, and let me know what else you want to see on future reviews. That's it for now, and I'll see you for the next one.